Spiritfarer is a cozy management game about dying. You play as Stella, Spiritfarer of the dead, tasked by Charon in their final moments to feed, house, and meet the requests of spirits throughout the vast sea of islands on your boat, as you seek to find the answer to the question posed by the game developers, what will you leave behind? This video contains spoilers for the stories of spirits in Spiritfarer, including Alice, Jackie, Daria, and Gwen. Spiritfarer is, as stated previously, a cozy management game. You fish, cook, explore, and craft everything necessary to care for your spirits and fulfill requests for favorite meals, to track down loved ones, or recreate scenes from their favorite stories. Early on, the spirits are clearly people who knew Stella, a best friend, an aunt, an uncle, and as the game progresses, you start to meet people who don't mention any relation to you, but they've put their faith and goals in your hands to help carry out. Once they've had their fill of this stage of life, they will ask you to take them to the Everdoor, a circular gate you reach by boat, where, after some final words and a hug, they transform in bursts of light and are visible as constellations you can see in the evening and nighttime on your boat. Spiritfarer has one of the most rewarding gameplay loops I've ever experienced. Something about the way the quests shake out and the way you're rewarded for your curiosity scratches an itch perfectly in my brain. I can sink hours into Spiritfarer without hardly noticing the time passing. There's something so charming in the repetitive, almost meditative way the game takes you through the paces, with some of the more mundane activities broken up by getting to know the spirits on your boat better. I can happily grind away hours getting to know spirits and gameplay mechanics, and then reality sets in. You're seeing to these people's last requests, and eventually they will have a last request. Often you can see it coming. Flashes of sad memories, missing loved ones, or health crises. The end starts to manifest in these spirits much like it does in real life. Some quickly, some by choice, some with peace, and some with none. There are many different characters I could talk about in this essay, but for now I will focus on these few: Alice, Jackie, and Daria. Alice is a hedgehog you pick up on an island that you visit while exploring. She requires you to return a sheep to its pen and then to find it a friend. Once that's complete, she tells you the kind of home she'd like to live in, and after building it, she joins you on your boat. She carries herself like a grandma, if there is such a way to carry oneself. She shares memories of her daughter and husband and helps you collect nebula fiber by caring for an overwhelmed mother of a pill bug. Hey, this is a fantasy game about death. She encourages you to express yourself, and as you upgrade her cabin, you gain the ability to change your clothing colors. As she gets to know you and becomes more comfortable on your boat, she makes a request. She wants to visit an island that looks just like the one from her favorite series of novels. As you walk with her, she lovingly recites the plot to the novel, excitedly calling out her favorite lines and pulling you into the drama, and right at the penultimate moment, she slips and falls. And after that, everything is different. She requires physical assistance to return to the ship. She can no longer climb the ladders that make up the primary way you navigate the ship, and you have to move her house down to the bottom of the boat. You now must fetch her from her house and walk her to the prow of the ship in the morning and back home in the evening. She no longer asks you for food or offers you things she bought while you were on an island collecting resources. She has occasional outbursts, telling you to leave her alone. In the end, you have to dress up as her daughter for her to share that she's ready to go to the Everdoor. Alice is a story familiar to many of us, the slow decline of a loved one, such that you almost begin mourning them even before they're gone. As the dementia takes away memories, personality, and function, it's hard to bear witness to. To see someone once such a constant in your life suddenly become someone entirely new. As a caregiver, you slowly take over managing parts of their life: doctor's appointments, medications, meals, hobbies, social calendar, and often with little thanks. It can be a frighteningly common experience. There are books written about when to take the keys away and how to cope with seeing a stranger in a loved one's face. There can be such joy, however, in the moments of recognition, in knowing the love is still buried in there somehow, and meeting whole new sides to them you wouldn't have otherwise. Alice is meant to evoke that painfully familiar ache of losing a beloved grandmother or grandmother figure. I was stunned to realize that on what had to be my 5th playthrough, how much seeing her slip on the ice still hurt, how it still struck me somewhere deep in the ribs, witnessing the beginning of the end again. It's so easy to be caught up in the gameplay loop that a moment like this shocks you back to reality. Alice isn't like, say, Gwen, who has been contemplating her life once you're established on your vessel. Gwen, who is reminiscing on your shared past and the complicated relationship with her father. Alice was happy, sharing anecdotes, working in your orchard, and reliving her favorite moments from her favorite novel. Her ending finds her. She doesn't get a true opportunity to say goodbye, and you're so caught up in the day-to-day of running your vessel that her returning to the Everdoor can be sudden. If you figure out how to trick her into thinking you're her daughter. Even up to the end, she only has a brief moment of lucidity, which is quickly swallowed up by her dementia. Alice serves as a reminder that even as you go through your busy work of caring for, meeting requests, and renovating homes, to soak in each moment with your passengers, you truly don't know how long you'll have with them. As the game continues, you work with people less and less known to Stella. While they all represent someone she knew and worked with in her life, they aren't the family that Gwen, Summer, and Atul were. Nor are they all the clear-cut case of a sweet grandma. Spirits get picky, they get needy, and while they are all still generally pleasant to work with, their requests get more and more complicated. However, each remains rewarding, with moments of softness and vulnerability to reach in and connect with both you and Stella. Toward the end of the game, you come across an island encased in fog. There you meet a spirit at a vending machine that has a few items that require obols, the fare you are given from each spirit you welcome to your boat. They're typically used to upgrade Stella and learn new skills, but towards the late game you end up with more obols than there are upgrades. The spirit on the island recognizes you and immediately starts using an annoying nickname. He mentions he slipped away for a break and then the fog descended. Separated from work, he gives up and states there's nothing to be done until management fixes the problem. Upon buying him the chocolate bar he was after, the fog lifts and you can approach the hospital on the island. This is Jackie. Spirits there complain about the food, the facilities, and the general lack of joy now at the hospital. Everyone carries themselves with a defeatist attitude, and very few offer solutions as to what could be done. Jackie gives you a tour and then asks for help passing food out. You can offer the guests the gruel given to you by the kitchen, or you can offer them food from your own supply to boost their spirits. If you offer them better food, Jackie will chastise you, saying that the hospital is not able to provide that quality of food regularly, and all you're doing is getting their hopes up. Jackie is also quick, however, to ask you for favors as the island runs into further problems. He says he can't take care of it because he has to keep an eye on a real troubled patient up in a tower. But eventually you gain access to said tower and find Daria. Daria has synesthesia, and possibly some other form of dementia or perception-altering condition. She speaks in riddles and can be rather blunt. You come across sheet music in her room and can play a song for her, rousing her. After your initial encounter with Daria, Jackie warns you that she is not well nor in her right mind, and it's best to keep her understimulated and on her medicine regimen. After sneaking back up to see her and helping her get an instrument to play herself, one made of metal and glass, Jackie has a total meltdown. He attempts to take it from her, and it is implied that he is injured in the attempt. He berates you for giving it to her and shouts ableist things, basically calling for her to be sedated all the time and complaining about his role as a caregiver for this hospital. He's then dismissed by the new caretaker, who asks for your help in restoring the island. By doing platforming missions with Daria in a kaleidoscope of colors and fantastic music, you gain the next currency necessary to make use of the vending machine, further restoring the island. You travel the sea, hiring a new doctor, a new gardener, and new staff, and slowly bring light to the island. But what of Jackie? Well, after you complete all of Daria's requests and take her to the Everdor, Jackie will appear on your boat. Another spirit will mention hearing something during the night, prompting you to investigate. This leads you to find Jackie hiding in another spirit's house, specifically the first spirit, Gwen's. Jackie is immediately defensive and then regretful of his words. When you invite him to stay on your vessel, he is glad for a purpose and declares himself unlike your other guests, who he refers to as patients, and wants to contribute to the care of the boat. As he spends time on the boat, he begins to realize that he is an unhappy person, and he doesn't know how to become one. With a firm denial of his own needs, he's kind of hard to help. The more you get to know him, the more he becomes down on himself. He's honest in his assessment of himself, if a little harsh, and realizes he's made himself a victim of all his circumstances in an attempt to explain away all of his less than stellar choices. He tries a few surface-level things to change himself, motivational posters, a Zen garden, self-help books, but he's unable to forgive himself and others, so he says he's giving up and requests you take him to the Everdor. Jackie is one of the few who talks about the afterlife as you take him to the Everdor. He speculates on what it will be like, and then tells you he will see you on the other side, or not, and he's gone. When you go to collect his Spiritflower, an item used to upgrade your boat, you find 3 torn-up letters of his attempts to apologize to Daria. Jackie serves as a mirror to Stella. He is worn down from years working for a hospital that barely showed appreciation, lacked resources, and likely lacked training. Jackie got into it because it was work available. He got praise for it early on and liked it. But as with all things, a job will wear on you. Jackie was not well before his job, and the job did not make him well. Caretaking is hard work, mentally, emotionally, and physically. That's why it's an entire industry. To put that burden on a single family member is unfair. Spiritfarer does an incredible job of bearing you in a, what I found to be very fun and compelling, gameplay loop that eventually shocks you out of the mundane routine of fulfilling requests and providing food and affection to knock you on your rear with the loss of the spirits. One moment you're mining, smelting, and forging to upgrade a spirit's home, and the next they're moving on. I found Spiritfarer to be exceptional at demonstrating how unglamorous and frankly boring caretaking can be, while still driving home the gravity of the job. By the time you reach Jackie and Daria in the game, you likely have run into plenty of moments where gameplay drags, a spirit has a complicated request sending you clear over the map, and you're finding yourself caring for less and less loving spirits. The developers cleverly put Jackie where he is to serve as a reminder of how remarkable Stella is. Her grace and acceptance is frankly Herculean, as she meets each of her fare with compassion and care, regardless of how they may treat her or lash out. I won't offer simple platitudes of how keeping an open mind or looking for compassion in any circumstance will suddenly make the act of caretaking, especially towards the end of life, easier. But it is what people deserve. And I think if you've never been in a position to care for someone at the end of their life, Spiritfarer offers an honest, if optimistic taste of the mundane grind that occasionally punches you in the face with grief. For me, this game offered catharsis. Playing this in 2020 when it first released, and I had been working in senior care for just over 2 years, and then had what little experience I had gathered thrown out the window as we entered lockdown, Spiritfarer looked at me and said, "I see you. I see what you do every day. I see what you lose and don't know how to mourn." So with all of that in mind, I heartily recommend Spiritfarer to anyone who has cared for a loved one, who expects to care for a loved one, or just enjoys cozy management games. And offer my praise to Thunder Lotus for crafting such an experience. What a gift to feel so seen by a game studio I'd never heard of until 2020. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Dylan for the edit. If you liked this video, check out Friendly Neighborhood Gamers wherever you listen to podcasts. I bring up this game a lot, and could probably continue to talk about it for far longer than anyone wants to listen. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know if this is content you enjoy, and to just help us with the almighty algorithm. It would be greatly appreciated. Stay friendly, gamers.